Hi, and welcome back to my channel. It's good to see you again. This is part 3 in a series I am making about multiple ways you can say common verbs in the English language, because they have a lot of definitions. Anyone can watch this video, but a general understanding of English is recommended. If there is too much information coming your way too fast, simply pause the video and continue when you are ready. Okay, the verbs we will look at for today's class are to go, to see, and to keep. Seems pretty simple, and it actually is. It's not so bad compared to what a lot of people think. You are really smart and you worked really hard to get to this level of English. So let's improve your English even more with some new vocabulary. And let's get started with to go. The first definition I have is the first definition you learn in your English classes. It's about starting in one place and moving to another place. It doesn't exactly matter if you walked, took the bus, rode your bike, or any other transportation method to get there. When we go, we simply move. You definitely can say that you walked, ran, drove, or flew to arrive at your destination, but when the information isn't so important, you can simply say that you go to school every day, you're going to work right now, or yesterday you went to the bank. Nice. Definition number 1, done. Okay, so definition number 2 is a little different and is more about being in a certain condition or state. Remember, they always sound very complicated. You only need the examples. So let me show you how simple it really can be. I hope the interview goes well. See, that's not so bad. So here you want the interview to have a good atmosphere and be in a positive state so that you can get the job. We can even say our tradition of movie night Fridays has been going for years. See, it's not so bad. Let's do a few more. Each year, their birthday parties go loudly until the morning. My grandma can go on talking about all of her grandchildren all day. Let's look at one last example. He plays video games so much he can't go a day without playing. Again, these examples don't mean that something is physically moving. We mean it in a more metaphorical sense, like abstract thinking. We don't mean literally going like what walking is. With abstract thinking, this is something like continuing for a while, like a habit, routine, or tradition. And again, just like that, on to our last definition for go. And this one is pretty similar to the definition we just had about being in a certain state, except this one is more about the process of going into another state or condition. So basically changing from one state into another. all you need to do is think of it like this. The milk went sour after I forgot to put it back in the fridge. It was fresh milk, but because I forgot about it all weekend, well, now it looks a little more like cottage cheese than milk. When the sun sets, the sky goes dark. His hair went gray in his late 20s. Let's do one more. When the teacher walks into the classroom, everyone goes quiet. Perfect. I hope these examples made to go a little easier for you to use in the future. Let's move on to the next verb on our list, to see. Okay, you might be thinking, hey, we see with our eyes. This is pretty clear. And you are absolutely right about that. We do see with our eyes, but we also see as in we understand something, and we see people and objects in abstract ways too. We even say that we see people in terms of visiting them. So let's go first into more detail about our first definition with using our eyes. It's pretty easy, and it's when our eyes are open, we can see the birds flying, trees, and maybe cars or houses. Some people are not able to use their eyes because of an illness or they were born that way. In that case, we say that these people are blind. But people who are able to see things can see the world around them, including colors, brightness, moving objects, etc. Good. Let's go into more detail about using to see in ways that we understand something. So I want you to imagine that you are reading a book. When you read the words and you know what they mean, you're seeing the story. It's not just about the letters on the page. It's more about understanding the story in the book. And yes, you use your eyes to see the letters, but you don't literally see the dragon or the princess that you read in the letters. You understand the concept. We can even see things without books, like when someone explains a joke to you and you suddenly understand their humor, you're seeing their humor. It's like a light bulb moment in your head. Whether it's a story or a joke or even a problem you are trying to solve, when you understand something, you could say, I see what you mean. That means the exact same thing as I understand what you mean. But a lot of people do indeed say, I see what you mean. Great. Our last definition for to see is quite a simple one. And like I said a moment ago, it's about visiting people. Now, before I continue, you can absolutely say that you're visiting your friend. Absolutely continue saying that verb. It's a great and very important verb. When you're having a conversation with someone and they say something like, I'm seeing my best friend this weekend, I want you to understand exactly what they're telling you, because they aren't just going to see in their friend's window, look at their friends for a couple minutes, and then walk home. That would be maybe someone would call the police on you. Let's say, for example, Michael will see his friend Thomas this weekend. So, one, they will literally see each other, talk to each other, maybe be at the other person's home or in a restaurant, and usually enjoy each other's company. This means that they like being around each other and hearing what the other talks about. And just like that, we are on to our last verb, to keep. Let's jump into definition number 1, which is most likely the definition you learn in your English class. We hold ideas or objects. So you probably have heard keep a promise, or in the wise words of Gandalf the Grey, keep it secret, keep it safe. We hold control of something. When you keep a promise, it's your responsibility to hold that promise. You can keep many types of promises, like visiting friends more often. Maybe you promised to help your friend move from one apartment to another. And promises to yourself, like spending less time watching television. If you don't do it or you give up, then you break the promise. We can definitely also keep physical objects, like things that we can literally hold and touch, like photo albums. It doesn't just have to be abstract. So you can say something like, we keep our photo album on the coffee table for our guests to enjoy. You can also keep items that are special to your family, like a watch or a vase, and give them to your children to keep it in the family. Good. Okay, next definition. You guys are doing great. When we say keep for this next definition, we are talking about staying in a certain condition or activity without interruption. So without stopping. Always remember that you don't have to remember the definition, just how to use keep in this sense. So let's go back to the song lyric, keep your head up. This is an expression that we use to tell people to stay positive and not to give up. You could be having a difficult time in a new job or a new city, but if a friend tells you to keep your head up, they mean to stay positive and that good times will come back soon. Let's look at more examples. You keep smiling in a very boring meeting. A meeting you do not want to smile at all in, but because your boss is there, you might have to smile so that you can show your boss that you are listening and you are active in the meeting. I think we have all had those meetings, and they are always the longest and slowest meetings possible, but hopefully you are watching this video on the weekend, far, far away from work. Okay, let's do another example. You keep studying for a test even though it's very late at night. These are pretty great examples and ways to say this verb in real life situations. Let's look now at a past tense example to help you further. It kept raining all day yesterday, and now the garden is flooded. All my flowers are underwater. This is what we mean when something stays or stayed in a certain condition without stopping, at least for a while. So it keeps raining, they keep playing, and we keep learning. Good job so far. Our last definition is a little tricky, so we will look at quite a few examples of this one. When we talk about caring for a person or an object, we say that we keep it. So let me explain with this example. Your neighbor is on vacation and asked you to babysit their cat. You said yes, and now you keep the cat fed. This means that you feed the cat so that the cat is fed. You keep the plants watered in the house. You make sure that the plants have enough water to survive. You keep the house clean and tidy, which means you make sure there is no dirt by the door and there's no mail falling out of the mailbox. You can certainly say, I made sure the cat was fed and happy. But you also can say, I kept the cat fed and happy. They mean the same thing. So if you can't remember how to use to keep in this specific way while you talk, no worries. English is very flexible, and we have so many ways to say so many things. My goal for these videos is for you to learn these flexible ways to use these verbs. And if you forget sometimes, that's just a part of learning. You will remember next time. Let's do one last example using all of these definitions for keep, and let's find out if you can see the differences. Lifeguards keep swimmers safe by watching for signs or warnings of people needing help. They usually keep a whistle and a walkie-talkie with them wherever they go in case of emergencies. If a swimmer needs help, the lifeguard keeps calm, rescues the swimmer, and brings them to safety. If this is an emergency, the lifeguard will keep the area clear so that ambulance workers have space to work and help. Keeping the area clear means that people stay maybe 5 or so meters away from the swimmer who needs the help. Nice job. I hope I made this verb a little bit easier for you, but the best way to fully understand these verbs is to practice them while you talk. So talk as often as you can and try at least one of these verbs per day and see how fast you learn them. That is it for today. I hope you enjoyed learning with me, and I can't wait to see you again for part 4 in this series. So until then, bye.